Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott, and this is the Total Debt Elimination Activation. I want to take a moment to acknowledge what many people who are listening right now are experiencing. Debt. Maybe you wake up in the morning and before your feet even touch the floor, that familiar weight settles onto your chest. That heaviness comes from knowing another day of financial pressure lies ahead. I understand that feeling. I have been through it. So many of us do. Perhaps you've experienced that moment of hesitation before checking your bank account. That tiny prayer you whisper, hoping that there's enough to cover what's needed. The calculations you do in your head at the grocery store, putting items back on the shelf because the numbers just don't work. For some of you, debt has become the uninvited guest at every important life moment. It sits with you at the dinner table when you're trying to enjoy a meal with loved ones. It follows you into job interviews, making you accept positions that don't honor your worth because you need the immediate security. It stands between you and your dreams, creating a barrier that sometimes feels impossible to cross. The shame that comes with debt can be the hardest part. That voice that whispers you should have known better, done better, been better with your money. The way you might hide the truth from your friends, family, even partners, crafting careful excuses for why you can't join them for dinner or that weekend trip. And the strain on your relationships. The arguments about money that started as discussions but escalated as the pressure mounted. The dreams you've had to defer together, the vacations not taken, the home renovations postponed, the education of your children that keeps you up at night wondering how you'll provide. Your body has likely been sending you signals too. The tension headaches that come after reviewing bills. The stomach knots when an unexpected expense arises. The shallow breathing when you think about your financial future. The insomnia that visits when financial worries refuse to quiet down. I want you to know I see all of this. I acknowledge the full weight of what you've been carrying. You're not alone. And most importantly, I want you to understand that this situation is not a reflection of your worth or potential. The system we live in was designed to keep people in debt. The complicated interest structures, the penalties, the fine print, these weren't created to help you thrive. They were created to keep you paying without making real progress. But here's what I know with absolute certainty. The debt does not define you. It is not who you are. It is a temporary situation in your timeline, not your permanent identity. And that's why we're here today, because it's time to shift, not just your financial reality, but your entire relationship with money. It's time to step into a new timeline where debt no longer dominates your thoughts, your emotions, and your choices. The version of you that lives debt-free already exists. In the next few moments, we're going to align with that reality so completely that your current financial circumstances will have no choice but to transform. The weight of debt hangs upon your soul. Yet debt, my friends, is not merely numbers inscribed in ledgers or digits glowing from screens in the dark hours of night. It is an energy construct, a phantom architecture built of fear and obligation that we have unknowingly agreed to inhabit. I come to you today not as one who stands upon some distant peak of financial perfection, but as a fellow traveler who has wandered through the shadowed valleys of lack and climbed toward the luminous heights where abundance flows like rushing waters after spring rains. This activation is not merely words spoken into the void, but rather a communion between souls, yours and mine, as we together unshackle ourselves from the invisible chains that have bound us to realities not of our choosing. Listen to this as you move through the ordinary moments of your day, while your hands busy themselves with dishes, as your feet carry you along familiar paths, as you prepare yourself for the day's journey ahead. This activation requires no special posture, no closed eyes, no breathing techniques. It works its subtle alchemy as you remain fully engaged with the world around you. For it is in this dance between the mundane and the magical that our most profound transformations occur. The debt that has followed you like a persistent shadow will begin to dissolve, not through some mystical vanishing, but through the profound shifting of timelines that we shall navigate together in the minutes ahead. The pathways of prosperity already exist. They stretch before us like winding roads that seem to lead nowhere until suddenly they open upon vistas of breathtaking possibility. Today we journey together toward a horizon where your financial liberation awaits, not as some distant promise, but as a reality already unfolding in this very moment. The truth about debt is simple, yet deliberately obscured. What they call financial obligation is in reality blocked energy. Consider how in nature water flows freely until dammed. Your financial energy operates by the same principle. It wishes to circulate, but has been artificially constrained. The institutions benefit from this arrangement. They have manufactured a system where debt appears inevitable, natural even, like the changing of seasons. You got to be in debt to buy a house, to buy a car, to do whatever you want in the world. But there's nothing natural about it. This is doublethink of the highest order, to accept debt as both necessary and burdensome simultaneously. When you sign a loan document, you do more than agree to terms written in deliberately impenetrable language. You form an energetic attachment, like an invisible cord running from your vital center to a distant building filled with people you'll never meet. Each month as you make your payment, you send not just money, but your life force along this cord. The banks understand this exchange, though they'd never acknowledge it publicly. In all my years of observing human societies, I've noticed that abundance, not scarcity, represents our natural condition. Look at the world around you. Trees produce thousands more seeds than necessary. Fields grow more grain than can be harvested. Ideas spring eternal from the human mind. This abundance has been hidden behind artificial walls of not enough. The language itself betrays this truth. We speak of making money as if it must be manufactured with difficulty rather than allowed to flow naturally. The limiting beliefs about money form a sort of mental stop preventing you from even considering alternative financial realities. When you think, I will always be in debt or money is hard to come by, you're not expressing your own observation, but repeating implanted directives designed to keep you financially tethered. Consider these beliefs as you would any propaganda. Who benefits from your conviction that you're unworthy of abundance? Certainly not you. Wealth is not a scarce resource requiring rationing. This is the crucial understanding that the debt system obscures. The doublethink ends today. See debt for what it truly is, not an obligation, but a constructed reality maintained through your unconscious consent. Withdraw this consent and the entire structure begins to tremble. The walls are flimsier than they appear. What if I told you right now in this precise moment of cosmic unfolding, you exist not just in one reality, but in an infinite spectrum of parallel possibilities? This is not science fiction. We are multidimensional beings experiencing reality through the narrow aperture of your focused attention. The you that carries crushing debt and the you that lives in complete financial freedom already coexist in the quantum field of all possibilities. The only difference is where you place your awareness. Think about it. When physicists observe quantum particles, those particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until the moment of observation collapses the wave function into a single reality. Your consciousness is doing the exact same thing with your financial timeline. Now, I know that I mention this a lot, but this is how it works. The debt-free version of you isn't something to create, it's something to tune into. Do this now. Tune into your timeline where you are debt-free, which exists with the same validity as this one. You wake up each morning with a profound lightness in your chest. Your phone notifications bring excitement rather than dread. Your conversations about money are infused with possibility rather than restriction. You're already noticing how your body feels differently in this timeline. Your breathing deepens automatically, your shoulders relax. The persistent knot of anxiety in your solar plexus has dissolved. This is your neurophysiology responding to a shift in timeline awareness. As you listen to my words, you're beginning to remember experiences from your debt-free timeline. Maybe it's the memory of opening an unexpected check in the mail, or receiving a notification that a debt has been forgiven, or discovering previously overlooked income streams that transform your financial landscape overnight. These aren't just fantasies, they're quantum memories bleeding through the thinning veil between parallel realities. The most extraordinary aspect of this consciousness technology is that you don't have to wait for these experiences. They're happening now in the timeline you're shifting into. You're simply bringing your awareness into alignment with what already exists. When you check your financial accounts later today, you'll be surprised by what you discover. When you interact with financial institutions this week, you'll notice remarkable shifts in how these exchanges unfold. Unexpected opportunities for debt elimination will begin appearing with astonishing synchronicity. Your mind is already rewriting its financial operating system. Those persistent thoughts of lack are being overwritten with the recognition of abundance. Those habitual feelings of unworthiness are being replaced with your natural state of deservingness. This isn't positive thinking. This is the deliberate navigation of consciousness across the multiverse of potential realities. This is the technology of intentional timeline jumping. As these words reach your consciousness, the shift is already occurring. I am using specific linguistic patterns, frequencies, and techniques to shift you into your debt-free timeline. And that timeline is no longer separate from your experience. It's merging with your present awareness. The evidence will continue mounting in the days ahead, confirming what your higher consciousness already knows. Your financial liberation isn't coming. It's here. It's now. It's real. And you've just activated it. What if the entire construct of financial debt is simply an outdated operating system running in the magnificent supercomputer of your consciousness? A legacy program that we can upgrade with the right cognitive firmware. The moment you recognize this, something extraordinary happens. We're talking about a complete revolution in your energetic signature, a radical reconfiguration of your relationship with the universal flow of abundance. When energy flows uninhibited through natural systems, through rivers, through neural networks, through ecosystems, it creates magnificence. It creates wonder. It creates possibility, yet somehow we've accepted these artificial dams in our financial energy systems as if they were inevitable. But they're not. Your energy body, this miraculous bioelectrical field that extends beyond your physical form, has been entangled with these debt frequencies for so long that they feel like part of your identity. But they're not you. They never were. They're simply patterns of information that can be transformed in an instant of cosmic recognition. Now visualize with me. See your financial energy as a luminous current, a vibrant flow of potential that has been artificially constricted. Those constrictions, those debts, they appear as dark nodes in this otherwise brilliant stream. What happens when we introduce resonance into a system? When we match frequencies with intention? These nodes begin to dissolve, they begin to transform. The physics of consciousness demands it. Can you feel that? That subtle shift? That's the sensation of your energy body recognizing its natural debt-free state. That's your system remembering its intrinsic connection to the infinite field of abundance that permeates the cosmos. I know that right now you're thinking, how am I going to pay this debt? Where am I going to get the money? What is going to happen? I'm just asking you for the next few minutes as you listen to this activation to not worry about that. The money will come to pay your debt in wonderful ways. Once we do this activation, all you have to do is allow it. The quantum field responds to expectation. It responds to attention. It responds to the emotional electricity of your focused consciousness. You're not just imagining a debt-free reality, you're calling it into being through the observer effect of your awakened awareness. And as you continue with your day, you will notice unexpected synchronicities appearing, a forgotten refund, a surprising opportunity, a suddenly forgiven debt. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmation that your energetic recalibration is already manifesting in the physical world. When you receive your next bill, you'll find yourself responding differently. Where once there was contraction, now there's expansion. Where once there was dread, now there's curiosity. This is the physics of consciousness reorganizing your financial reality at the most fundamental level. The debt cancellation has already occurred in the field of potential. Your conscious mind is simply catching up to what your higher awareness has already manifested. The gap between those realities is dissolving with every beat of your heart, with every breath you take, with every thought that recognizes your natural state of abundance. This is the miracle of conscious evolution, the power of intentional reality creation, the wonder of what happens when you recognize that you're not just a passive observer, but an active participant in manifestation. I want you to feel it, know it, become it. Your debt-free reality isn't coming, it is here right now. Let's explore a profound truth about human experience. We don't just have identities, we actively become them through the stories we tell ourselves. The identity of debtor isn't just a financial circumstance. It's a complete framework that shapes how you move through the world, how you make decisions, and even how you carry your physical body. Think about how someone deeply in debt approaches opportunities. When a potential investment appears, the mind of the debtor immediately calculates risk, anticipates loss, and often retreats to safety. This is why Napoleon Hill pointed out that being deeply in debt worked against your ability to become rich. This happens not because rational analysis, but because a deeply embedded identity of debt whispers, this isn't for you. You don't have the resources. You must focus on survival, not growth. But I want to tell you something remarkable. I witnessed a friend who had struggled with debt for decades, experienced what can only be described as an identity metamorphosis. He began by simply noticing the language he used about money. Every time he said, I can't afford, he consciously replaced it with, how can I create the resources for this? At first this felt artificial, like wearing clothes that didn't fit, but within weeks, something fascinating happened. His posture changed, this subtle forward hunch of someone carrying an invisible burden straightened. His voice developed a resonance it hadn't had before, Opportunities that always existed but remained invisible to his debtor identity suddenly became apparent. This is the process you're engaging with right now. Now let me pause that story for a moment to ask you, have you ever watched a caterpillar transform into a butterfly? The remarkable thing isn't just the dramatic change in appearance, but the fact that inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar doesn't just grow wings, it completely dissolves into a cellular soup before reorganizing into an entirely new being. Your financial identity is undergoing this same profound reorganization through this activation. 6 months from now, you will look back at this moment as the catalyst that transformed your relationship with money. You will notice how differently you respond when opportunities arise. Instead of the automatic, "can't afford that" response, you'll hear yourself asking, "is this aligned with my wealth creation strategy?" When you check your accounts, you won't be looking for what you owe, you'll be assessing how your assets are performing. Now, returning to my friend's story, 3 months into his experience with language, he received an unexpected job offer. In his previous identity, he would have immediately calculated whether it covered his minimum expenses. Instead, he found himself considering how this position might expand his skills and connections, resources far more valuable than the initial salary. This is the wealth creator mindset emerging within you. It sees beyond immediate transactions to the ecosystem of abundance that surrounds every decision. Imagine yourself walking into a room full of financial professionals. In your old identity, you might have felt intimidated, perhaps even ashamed or uninterested. From your new identity as a wealth creator, you enter with curiosity, seeing potential collaborators rather than judges. Now, to complete my friend's story, within a year, he had eliminated 70% of his debt. Not through winning the lottery, but through a sequence of aligned decisions that flowed naturally from his new identity. The most remarkable part, he described the process as effortless. This effortlessness is the hallmark of authentic identity transformation. When you genuinely become a wealth creator at the level of identity, financial abundance isn't something you pursue, it's something you express, just as naturally as a rose expresses its fragrance. 3 years from now, when you're explaining to someone how you eliminated your debt and built substantial wealth, you'll struggle to articulate exactly how it happened. I just started making different decisions, you might say. Opportunity seemed to find me. I was lucky. This is because identity transformation doesn't operate through willpower or rigid systems. It works through alignment with your natural state of abundance. Your identity as a wealth creator is like a massive oak tree growing from a tiny acorn. The complete pattern, roots, trunk, branches, leaves, exists in potential within that seed. Similarly, your complete financial liberation already exists within the new identity that I am activating within you right now. As we continue, notice how your breathing has already shifted. Notice how your relationship to the concept of debt has already begun to transform from burden to temporary circumstance. This is your new identity emerging as natural and inevitable as a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. We have shifted the energy. We've transformed your identity. But now comes the moment of truth. What are you going to do with this new financial consciousness? Because let me tell you something, insight without action is absolutely worthless. Right now, your brain is rewired and ready for a completely different financial experience. But you got to participate in this process. The universe responds to decision and movement. A lot of times, in past episodes I've dedicated to eliminating your debts, I've had people that came to me and sort of assumed, hey, it's just going to magically happen. Here's what's going to happen today. You're going to begin noticing synchronicities related to money and debt elimination. Maybe it's an article that catches your eye about debt forgiveness programs. Maybe it's overhearing a conversation about investment opportunities you never considered before. Maybe it's a friend mentioning a side business that resonates with your skills. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations that your timeline shift is working. They are breadcrumbs leading you toward financial freedom. When these synchronicities appear, and they will appear, take immediate action. Make the call, fill out the application, have the conversation. The speed of your response determines the speed of your results. The old you would hesitate, analyze, procrastinate, and ultimately talk yourself out of opportunities. The new you, the wealth creator you, recognizes opportunities and moves toward them with absolute certainty. If you want to decide right now that you will check your credit report this week, when you look at those numbers, you'll be shocked to discover errors and opportunities for debt reduction that have been there all along but were invisible to your old consciousness. Decide right now that you will call at least one creditor this week and negotiate better terms if that is best for you. When you speak from your wealth creator identity, they will respond differently to you. The same institutions that seemed immovable before will suddenly become flexible. Decide right now that you will spend 5 minutes each morning looking for unexpected income opportunities. Your retrained brain will start to see money-making possibilities that were always there but filtered out by your old perspective. I've seen people eliminate six-figure debts in months instead of decades by applying these principles. One client discovered a debt consolidation opportunity that cut their interest by 70% after it had been sitting in the spam folder for weeks. Another found an overlooked error on their credit report. When corrected, raised their score by 85 points and qualified them for refinancing that saved thousands of dollars. These opportunities are already heading your way. The question is, will you be ready to grab them when they appear? I'm telling you right now, opportunities for debt elimination that would seem miraculous to your old self will begin appearing within days of this activation. An insurance refund you didn't expect, a tax deduction you overlooked, a debt forgiveness program you qualify for but never knew existed. The universe is abundant. Money is everywhere. Debt elimination pathways already exist. Your job isn't to create these opportunities, but to notice them and take massive action when they appear. The shift has already happened within you. Your new timeline is already unfolding. The only thing left is for you to participate fully in what you've created. Decide, commit, act. Your financial freedom isn't just possible, it's inevitable when you align your actions with the energetic and identity shifts. Now, I want you to say these affirmations with me to rewrite the programming within your subconscious mind to allow for total debt elimination in your life. I am shifting into the timeline where my debts are dissolving rapidly in ways that benefit everyone involved. I am so happy and grateful now for the complete payment of all financial obligations in God's own wonderful way. Every cell in my body is aligning with my debt-free reality, making this transition effortless and natural. As I go about my day, I am increasingly aware of evidence that my financial reality is transforming. I recognize synchronicities as confirmation that I am successfully navigating to my debt-free timeline. The version of me that is completely free from financial obligations is merging with my present awareness. I decree that all energetic cords tying me to debt consciousness are now severed permanently. I decree that my financial energy now flows without restriction, dissolving obstacles and limitations. I decree that the universal law of circulation is now active in my financial life, bringing perfect balance. I decree that all contracts, agreements, and vows related to lack and limitation are now null and void across all dimensions of time. I decree that my energetic signature now vibrates at the frequency of abundance, wealth, and prosperity. I am a natural creator of wealth in all its forms: material, emotional, spiritual, and experiential. My worth is inherent and infinite, completely separate from numbers in accounts or financial statements. I make decisions from my wealth creator identity, seeing opportunities where I once saw obstacles. Money is attracted to me because I provide value in everything I do. I decree that aligned opportunities for debt elimination now appear in my experience. I decree that the path of least resistance now leads directly to my complete financial liberation. With each breath, I embody more of my debt-free reality. I notice the feeling of financial freedom growing stronger in my body each day. I'm increasingly aware of the thoughts, words, and actions that align with my prosperity. My nervous system is recalibrating to maintain the frequency of abundance as my default state. I recognize debt as blocked energy that has been artificially constrained. I withdraw my unconscious consent from this constructed reality and allow my natural financial energy to flow freely. I exist simultaneously in multiple financial timelines, and my consciousness now aligns with the reality where my debts have already been eliminated. I am a multidimensional being experiencing financial revolution through the power of focused consciousness. I decree my financial liberation is here, now. It's real. The evidence will continue mounting in the days ahead as my higher consciousness merges with my present awareness. I decree that my financial transformation is just beginning. My debt elimination is the first domino in a magnificent sequence that's unfolding in my life. Now, we have embarked on a profound journey of financial transformation today through this activation. Let me take a moment to honor your commitment to growth and the courage it takes to reimagine your relationship with money. I do this on a daily basis. Sometimes that's what we need. This is not just about debt elimination, it's about reclaiming your power as the author of your financial story. Let's integrate the key elements of this activation. First, we recognize that debt is ultimately an energetic construct, one that can be transmuted through conscious awareness. Second, we shifted timelines aligning with the version of reality where your financial freedom already exists. Third, we transformed your core identity from debtor to wealth creator, because lasting change always happens at the identity level. Finally, we connected these energetic shifts with inspired action, because transformation without implementation leads nowhere. I stand in deep gratitude for the debt-free reality that is already manifesting in your life. Gratitude is a force multiplier. It accelerates every positive change. So let me express my heartfelt appreciation for the synchronicities that are already appearing in your financial landscape, for the unexpected resources that are making their way to you, and for the internal shifts that are reorganizing your relationship with abundance. Your journey doesn't end with this activation. It's just beginning. That's why I'd love to hear about your experiences. When you experience those moments of financial synchronicity, when a debt suddenly resolves or an unexpected opportunity appears, share your story in the comments below. Your breakthrough might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to believe their own possibilities. The community we are building here is about lifting each other up, about creating a field of positive expectation where everyone's financial transformation is accelerated. Your story matters to me. Your experience contributes to our collective field of abundance. I want you to know this activation is just one piece of a comprehensive system for financial liberation. Be sure to check out my other activations. I have several and many. Each activation builds upon the last, creating a complete system for sustainable financial freedom. The debt elimination that we've begun today is just the first domino in a magnificent sequence that's about to unfold in your life. You're standing at the threshold of a completely new financial reality. You've done the internal work. You've shifted the energy. You've aligned with your debt-free timeline. Now go forward with absolute confidence that the universe is conspiring in your favor that resources are making their way to you through channels you haven't even imagined yet, and that your financial liberation isn't just possible, it's inevitable. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.